from GNature.com, this is Mark Zhou. Today I would like to talk about what are battle-ready swords. Now a lot of people start to shop around for swords and they don't know the difference between some cheap swords and like the props kind of swords, and there are some battle-ready swords. Some swords, like what I'm talking about now, is the Chinese swords. Okay, in Cantonese we call Gim, and in Mandarin it's called Jian. Okay, so we're talking about Chinese sword, or just about any swords. Okay, but Chinese swords in particular here. So for swords that are battle-ready, they are not cheap, and you can expect the range to be about $200 USD and up. Okay, $200 is actually very cheap for a battle-ready sword, and anything that is below that mark, okay, you got to be careful because it's really like not made for real use, actual use. And what I mean by actual use is like you can use the sword to chop stuff, to cut bottles, cut the tatami mat, bamboo, and that kind of stuff. Okay, so for battle-ready swords, they're made to be used like that, and for non-battle-ready swords, they're not made to be used like that. Now, let me show you something here. Okay, some swords like these may seem very battle-ready. Okay, this is the Qing Dynasty style broadsword from Dragon Well Longqun. Okay, it's a good blade. Okay, made of high carbon steel, and it's actually sharpened as well by myself, and you can use it for medium light cutting. But the problem is, okay, here you can see that. Let me show you. The first thing you look at this sword is here. This is the handle. Okay, if you cannot see a little dot in the handle here, like this one. Okay, if you cannot see that little dot there, okay, and here it's just bare wood, it means that there's no wooden peg that goes through the handle and the tang. Okay, so you don't see this peg here, which means that there's nothing that secure the piece of metal that runs through this wooden handle here. Okay, and what that means is that by a brutal use, okay, for example, you just chop and chop and chop like that onto the target, and then after a few bangs, you'll find that the fittings are going to get loose. Everything is going to wobble. It's not going to be stable, and so in about like less than 100 strokes, okay, you'll find that the sword is falling apart, and it will spin all the way. So it's very dangerous. Now take a look at this. This is a battle-ready sword, and it's very long. Okay, you can see right away at the handle. Right here, you can see a peg that runs through it. If the manufacturer gives you this feature here, the peg through the handle, that means that they expect this sword to be used, like really used for chopping and abusive use. And then when you pull the sword out, okay, you have to see if the blade is sturdy. A real sword does not flex. Okay, even you press it on the ground like that, okay, it will not flex. And that's the standard for a battle-ready sword as well. They usually don't flex. And when you hold it, okay, it should not feel too light as well. If it feels too light, then the sword is really not going to hold up pretty well. So that's one thing you have to look at. And another thing you have to look at is here, the pommel. Right here, you can see that it's secured by a nut here. See, a hex nut, and you can unscrew this with a Allen wrench or something like that. Okay, but then here, if you want a very good battle-ready sword, then you have to look for neither a pinned, okay, pinned pommel here, which is a flattened end, where they heat up the tang inside, the piece of metal inside, and then they use a hammer to flatten it down. which means that the sword is permanently secured all in one piece. Or if you want, you can look for some modern style kind of thing here, which they use a hex nut to secure. But then if this is a hex nut, it must have a peg here. Okay, if you have a hex nut here and there's no peg here, you're going to run into a suicide kind of sword, because the thing is going to rattle and get loose in less than like 10 or few strikes. And I actually tried using some cheaper sword, okay, and to chop cardboard boxes and stuff like that. And really, like in 10 to 12 chops and stuff like that, you find the sword is getting loose and it's rattling. And if you use it more, it'll get loose, and it rattle, and then eventually it'll fall apart. So that's very dangerous. And when the sword is not secured, okay, the blade's edge will misalign. So even you're chopping like that movement, like here, okay, the blade edge, which is the cutting line, will be like this. So by the time you smack it on the target like that, okay, actually the blade is slanted downward and it will slip. So that kind of thing would damage your blade very fast too. So make sure that you keep that in mind. And here, let me show you one of the higher quality swords from Cold Steel. Now here is a Jade Lion sword. This is a Jade Lion sword from Cold Steel. And when you look at it, you think about, wow, like it's a great sword. But then I don't know if there's a peg in here or not, right? Because it's all wrapped up. Okay, the first thing is, if you can take a look at the sword right here through the little gaps, you can actually see a piece of little bamboo thing here in the center, and it's different in color. So it takes some experience for you to spot it, but then it's actually there. Okay, right here I can see it. Okay, it's different in color. It's like the raised skin here on top is white, and here it's yellowish. It's more like wood color, and that is the bamboo peg that runs through the handle. So for most high-end battle-ready swords, they must have a peg here. Okay, and for these swords that are made for actual use, they not only have one hex nut here or one nut cap here, they also have a hidden nut inside the pommel as well. For Cold Steel swords, usually, okay, here they have a this is what we call a nut cap, which you can use a vice grip to clamp onto it and unscrew, and then you take the pommel out, and inside here there's actually one more nut, okay, the hex nut, that was screwed down inside to secure the tang and the handle. And then you put this here, and then you put on this nut cap to secure the pommel. So it's very secured overall, okay? It's like secured here, here, and here. It's all secured. So with these features, you can see that the sword is battle ready because it can withstand a lot of abuse. And even though you chop it hard on the object, okay, it's not going to rattle, it's not going to wobble. And that's the difference between some good battle ready swords and some not battle ready swords. And also one rule of thumb here to keep in mind is that battle ready swords are always not made with stainless steel or the chrome plated steel. Okay, you will never find battle ready swords that are made from stainless steel and chrome plated steel. These are not for use on swords. Okay, remember, no stainless steel, no chrome plated steel, no wushu steel, that kind of crap. Okay, always made with carbon steel, high carbon steel, or whatever like that. Okay, usually they're made with carbon steel, or even as Damocles, they're also made with carbon steel folded as well. So always look for these key. Okay, now at the end, to conclude, let me repeat. Okay, first thing to look for is, first, the price range should not be under $200 for a battle ready sword. And usually they say it's a battle ready too, and it came sharp. Okay, so the second thing to look for is the peg inside the handle. okay, here, the peg, the wooden peg or the bamboo peg that runs through here. And then the construction, okay, here at the pommel here, they should have a nut cap. But inside here, there should be also a hidden nut cap for the higher quality stuff. And the sword must not rattle or wobble, okay, if you smack it on some stuff to test cut. Now, another thing is the blade. The blade, okay, should be made of carbon steel or some other higher quality steel, but never stainless steel and never chrome plated steel. Okay, so usually these good quality battle ready swords came sharpened, and you don't need to sharpen them yourself because they're made to be used like that. So keep in mind, these are some key points, and when you shop around for a sword, remember, always trust the big brands. So here I always trust the Cold Steel brand because they made the stuff for actual use, and you can see them use it in the video, so actually it gives you kind of like a guarantee here. But then for some like major brands, you know, like Hanwei and stuff like that, they actually do make swords that are made for real use. And so trust those big brands and never bet on eBay stuff, because the eBay people sometimes, like, they don't ship the what you order to you. Sometimes they ship something else different, and there's no guarantee and there's no warranty. And even like if you use the sword and the blade edge don't hold up, they're not going to exchange it for you. But for big brands, okay, if there's anything, you just tell them about it and they will exchange or repair for you for sure. So this is my advice for all sword lover. If you're shopping for a battle ready sword, remember my key points and you won't go wrong. Thank you for watching, and also wish you all a happy Chinese New Year. Bye bye.